I smoothed my dress for the 100th time, watching my son Leo bounce excitedly ahead of me up the garden path to my parents' house. The annual Lawson family reunion. My personal hell wrapped in potato salad and forced smiles. My name is Nina, and I'm about to walk into a firing squad of judgment disguised as family concern. The front door swings open before we reach it, and there she is, my sister Sarah, perfect as always in her designer sundress, not a hair out of place. Nina, you made it! Her voice carries that familiar note of surprise, like she half expected me to fail at even showing up. And Leo, you're getting so big. Leo shrinks slightly behind me, and I feel my jaw clench. He knows that tone, the one adults use when they're really saying something else entirely. Inside, the usual circus is in full swing. My mother fusses over Sarah's daughter, Emily, who sits primly in her little white dress, while various aunts and uncles mill around with drinks. The whispers start almost immediately. Raising him alone. Such a handful. Shame about the divorce. I guide Leo toward the kids' table, where Emily is now perfectly arranging her napkin. Go on, sweetie. Maybe you and Emily can play later? Mom, he whispers, tugging my sleeve. Do we have to stay long? Before I can answer, Sarah's voice rings out across the room. Oh, Nina, I meant to tell you. I read this fascinating article about managing difficult children. I'd be happy to send it to you. The room doesn't quite go silent, but it might as well have. I feel heat creep up my neck as heads turn our way. Leo's not difficult, I say evenly. He's creative and energetic. Sarah's husband Blake chuckles from his spot by the window. That's one way to put it. He takes a sip of his whiskey, though sometimes you have to wonder if some kids are just born wrong. The glass in my hand nearly slips. Leo, thank God, is already at the kids' table, but I know he heard. I can see it in the way his shoulders hunch. Blake! Sarah swats his arm playfully, but she's smiling. Though honestly, Nina, there are some excellent behavioral specialists in the city. Emily's pediatrician could recommend Sarah. My mother's voice carries a warning, but it's too late. I watch as my son picks at his food, shoulders still hunched, while Emily chatters about her recent dance recital. The perfect child, the golden grandchild. I see Sarah beaming at her daughter, then throwing concerned glances my way. Dinner drags on. I endure stories about Sarah's latest promotion, about Emily's academic achievements, about how wonderful it is that Sarah manages to do it all. Each word is a paper cut, and I'm bleeding out in silence. Nina, dear, my mother says later, as we're helping clear the tables. Sarah means well. She just wants to help. I look at her. Really look at her. Does she? Of course she does. She's your sister. Through the window, I can see Leo sitting alone on the swing set, kicking at the dirt. Emily stands nearby, clearly repeating something her mother told her about proper playground behavior. You know, Sarah says, joining us with an empty casserole dish, there's no shame in admitting you need help. Single parenting must be so challenging. I could scream. I could throw the plate I'm holding. I could list every single time she's undermined me, humiliated me, judged my choices while hiding behind that mask of sisterly concern. Instead, I smile. Thank you for your concern, Sarah. Later, as Leo and I walk to our car, he squeezes my hand. Mom, am I really difficult? I stop and kneel down to his level, right there in the driveway. No, baby. You're perfect exactly as you are. Some people just don't understand different kinds of perfect. He nods, but I can see the hurt lingering in his eyes. Behind us, I hear Sarah's theatrical laugh as she helps Emily into their luxury SUV. Something shifts inside me, something hard and cold and certain. I didn't raise my voice at the reunion. I didn't cause a scene. But as I watch my sister's car pull away, as I feel my son's small hand in mine, I realize I did raise something else. I raised a plan. 3 days after the reunion, I'm still seething while sorting through old photos for a client's project when my doorbell rings. It's Theo from next door, holding his signature peace offering, coffee and cookies. Saw your light on at 2 a.m. last night, he says, settling onto my couch. Family reunion fallout? I take a grateful sip of coffee. Sarah outdid herself this time. Ah, the perfect sister strikes again. Theo's been my neighbor and friend since his divorce 2 years ago. He gets it. Remember my engagement party? I ask, the memory suddenly sharp and bitter. When Sarah stood up to give her speech? No, but I can tell I'm about to hear something good. She told everyone how proud she was that I'd finally found someone willing to settle down with me. Then she spent 10 minutes talking about how she'd always worried about me, but now she could relax because David would keep me stable. Theo winces. Classy. Then when David left, I trail off, remembering Sarah's voice dripping with fake sympathy. Well, Nina, maybe if you'd tried harder to be more conventional. Mom, Leo calls from his room. Can I show Theo my new drawing? Sure, buddy, I call back, grateful for the interruption. Leo bursts in with his sketchbook, proudly displaying a detailed robot design. It's a feeling bot. It helps kids understand their emotions. Theo studies the drawing seriously. That's really creative, Leo. I love how you added all these different expression panels. I watch my son beam under the genuine praise, something so rarely offered by his aunt and uncle. The memory of Blake's "born wrong" comment makes my blood boil again. You know what Sarah said when I told her I was getting divorced? I say after Leo returns to his room. She said, well, at least you'll have more time to work on Leo's issues. Your sister's a piece of work, Theo says, shaking his head. My phone buzzes. Speak of the devil. It's Sarah. Nina? Her voice is frantic. I need a huge favor. My nanny just canceled, and I have this massive interview tomorrow at Preston and Mills. It could change everything for us, but I can't find anyone to watch Emily. I sit up straighter. What about Mom? She's at that wellness retreat. Please, Nina. You're the only one I trust. It would just be for a few hours in the afternoon. I know it's last minute, but of course I'll help, I hear myself say, my voice honey-sweet. What are sisters for? After I hang up, Theo gives me a knowing look. That was very agreeable of you. I smile, an idea taking shape. You know what the worst part is? Sarah's so convinced she's helping me. Every criticism, every backhanded comment, she truly believes she's doing me a favor. And now you're doing her one? Maybe it's time Emily learned some new perspectives. I stand up and walk to Leo's room. Hey, sweetie, how would you like to have your cousin over tomorrow? Leo looks uncertain. Will she tell me I'm doing everything wrong again? No, baby. Tomorrow we're going to play some very special games. Games about feelings and different ways of being right. Later that night, after Theo leaves, I pull out my laptop and start researching. Child development articles, videos about emotional intelligence, resources about different learning styles and family dynamics. Sarah has spent years trying to fix my parenting. Tomorrow, I'll show her daughter what real emotional education looks like, not through criticism or shame, but through understanding and acceptance. My phone buzzes again. Sarah sending detailed instructions about Emily's schedule, preferences, and rules. She needs structure, the text reads. She gets anxious without it. I think about Leo, who thrives on creativity and spontaneity, about how Sarah's rigid parenting style would crush his spirit, about all the times she's implied my son was somehow defective because he didn't fit her narrow definition of good. Mom, Leo appears in my doorway in his pajamas. Are you sure about tomorrow? I pat the bed beside me, and he climbs up. Remember how you said your feeling bot helps kids understand emotions? He nods. Tomorrow, we're going to be like feeling bots for Emily. We're going to show her that different isn't wrong, that there's more than one way to be a good kid. Leo's face lights up with understanding. Like how I think better when I'm moving, but Emily sits still? Exactly. I kiss his forehead. Now get some sleep. Tomorrow's going to be interesting. As I turn out the lights that night, I'm not angry anymore. I'm focused. Sarah wanted me to learn from her perfect parenting. Well, tomorrow her daughter's going to learn something too. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about opening eyes. The morning of Emily's visit, Leo helps me rearrange the living room. We push the coffee table aside to create a cozy play space with pillows and blankets. No rigid structure, no perfect corners. Remember the plan? I ask, laying out art supplies. Leo nods seriously. Be nice, be myself, and show Emily it's okay to be different. Perfect. I ruffle his hair. And what's our special word if things get uncomfortable? Pineapple. He grins. We decided on a safety word, just in case our little social experiment became too much for either child. I check my watch. Sarah will be here soon with Emily. On the coffee table, I've strategically placed a few items. Leo's letter about his different brain, some children's books about emotional intelligence, and a documentary about diverse learning styles queued up on the TV. The doorbell rings at exactly 1:00 p.m. Sarah stands there in her interview suit, perfect as always, gripping Emily's hand. Thank you again for this, Sarah says, ushering Emily inside. Here's her schedule. Snack at 2:30. Nothing with artificial colors, please. She needs to practice piano for 20 minutes and… Sarah, I interrupt gently. We'll be fine. Emily's in good hands. She hesitates, then kneels to Emily's level. Be good for Aunt Nina, okay? Remember what we talked about. Best behavior. Emily nods solemnly, her small shoulders straight as a ruler. Yes, Mommy. After Sarah leaves, Emily stands awkwardly in our messy, lived-in living room. She's wearing a pressed dress that looks more suitable for church than a play date. Hey, Emily, Leo says. Want to see something cool? He pulls out his sketchbook, showing her the FeelingBot drawings. Emily glances at me, as if asking permission to show interest. Go ahead, I say warmly. In this house, we love creativity. She inches closer to Leo, her curiosity winning over her reserve. What do all the buttons do? They're for different feelings, Leo explains enthusiastically. See, this one's for when you're excited but people tell you to sit still. I move to the kitchen, pretending to prep snacks while watching them interact. Leo shows Emily how he designs robots when he's working through emotions, and I see her fingers twitch toward the colored pencils. Would you like to draw too? I ask. I'm not very good at staying in the lines, she admits quietly. Who says you need lines? I pull out a fresh sheet of paper. Art is about expressing yourself, not following rules. Emily looks scandalized, but intrigued. Slowly, she picks up a red pencil and makes a tentative mark on the paper. That's it, I encourage. What feeling are you drawing? She bites her lip. Nervous, because Mommy has her big interview. It's okay to feel nervous, I say, sitting down with them. All feelings are welcome here. Right, Leo? Leo nods vigorously. That's why I made the FeelingBot, because sometimes grown-ups don't understand that being different isn't being wrong. Emily's hand stills. Mommy says structure helps us be right. There are lots of ways to be right, I say carefully. Look at these drawings. Leo's is full of movement and color. Yours is more contained. They're both beautiful. I pull out one of the books I'd prepared. Want to read a story about different kinds of minds? As we read, I watch Emily's rigid posture slowly relax. When Leo gets up to dance during a particularly exciting part, she giggles, then quickly covers her mouth. It's okay to laugh, I tell her, to move, to feel. But proper girls are allowed to be human, I finish firmly, just like proper boys and proper adults. We spend the next hour doing what Sarah would probably consider unstructured chaos. We build pillow forts. We draw feelings. We watch a short clip about children with different learning styles thriving in their own ways. When it's snack time, I don't enforce Emily's strict schedule. Instead, I let the kids help make fruit and yogurt parfaits, getting messy with berries and honey. "Aunt Nina," Emily asks, licking yogurt off her fingers, "why does Mommy say Leo needs to be fixed?" The question hangs in the air. Leo looks up, his eyes meeting mine. "Your mom," I say carefully, "sees one way of being right. But life is full of different ways to be wonderful. Leo thinks differently, moves differently, feels differently, and that's his superpower, not his problem." Emily considers this, looking at her cousin with new eyes. "Like how he makes robots to understand feelings and I just keep them inside?" "Exactly." I hand her a napkin. "Neither way is wrong. They're just different." As I watch them return to their drawings, I feel a flutter of satisfaction. The seeds are planted. Sarah wanted me to learn from her parenting. Well, her daughter is about to teach her something instead. Sometimes the best lessons come from the mouths of babes. "Let's play a game," I suggest, clearing away the snack dishes. "It's called Mirror Feelings." Emily perks up. Games with rules are her comfort zone. "How do we play?" One person acts out a feeling, and the other person has to guess what it is. Then we talk about why people might feel that way. Leo jumps up first. "Can I start?" He hunches his shoulders, makes himself small, and stares at the ground. Emily studies him intently. "Scared?" she guesses. "Close," Leo says. "It's how I feel when grown-ups say I'm doing everything wrong." Emily's face changes. "Oh, like shame?" "That's exactly right," I say softly. "Your turn, Emily." She stands, thinking hard, then straightens her spine and puts on a bright, tight smile that doesn't reach her eyes. "I know this one," Leo says. "It's pretending to be happy when you're not." Emily's smile drops. "How did you know?" "Because I see grown-ups do it all the time," he says, "especially at family stuff." I watch Emily process this. "Mommy says we should always smile at important events. Even when you don't feel like smiling?" I ask. She nods, then whispers, "Sometimes, when I'm not perfect, Mommy gets really quiet, and her face goes all tight. That's worse than when she yells." My heart clenches. I recognize that quiet disapproval, Sarah's specialty. "What makes you feel not perfect?" I ask. "When I can't sit still during piano practice, or when I get excited and talk too loud, or..." She glances at Leo's art supplies. "When I make messy art instead of neat art. Want to know a secret?" Leo scoots closer to her. "Mom says perfect is boring. She says mistakes are how we learn cool new things." I pull out some watercolors. "Want to try something? Let's paint feelings, but we're not going to worry about staying in lines or being neat." Emily hesitates. "But my dress..." I grab one of Leo's old t-shirts. "Here's your artist uniform." She changes, and soon we're all painting. Leo creates a swirling tornado of colors he calls Excited Mind. I do a gentle blend of blues and greens. Emily starts cautiously with careful strokes, but gradually her movements become freer. "What are you painting?" I ask her. "I don't know yet," she admits, "but it feels good." "That's the point," I tell her. "Sometimes we don't need to know. We just need to feel." While the paintings dry, we watch a short video about different types of intelligence. Emily sits close to me on the couch, her body gradually relaxing against my side. "Aunt Nina," she asked during a quiet moment, "are you a safe mom?" "What do you mean, sweetie?" "Like, you let Leo be loud sometimes, and messy, and you don't get the quiet mad face." I stroke her hair. Everyone deserves to feel safe being themselves, even when themselves isn't perfect. Especially then. Leo brings over his letter. the one about his different brain that he wrote after the family reunion. Want to hear something I wrote? Emily nods. My brain isn't broken, Leo reads carefully. It's just different. Like how some people are tall and some are short. Like how some flowers are red and some are yellow. Different isn't wrong. Emily's quiet for a long moment. Leo, sometimes my brain feels different too, but I'm not supposed to show it. Why not? Leo asks. Because Emily struggles with the words. Because proper girls are calm and quiet and always follow rules. I sit down with them. You know what I think? I think proper girls, and proper boys, are whoever they really are. Sometimes that's quiet, sometimes that's loud. Sometimes it's neat, sometimes it's messy. Like your painting? Emily points to her now dry artwork, a beautiful chaos of colors bleeding into each other. Exactly like that. We spend the rest of the afternoon playing more emotional intelligence games. Emily gradually stops checking the clock, stops smoothing her dress, stops asking if she's doing things right. When she spills a little water during our second art session, she doesn't freeze in panic. Instead, she looks at me and says, "Mistakes happen, right?" "Right," I confirm, handing her a paper towel. "And what do we do with mistakes?" "Learn from them," Leo chimes in. Emily helps clean up the spill, then returns to her art with renewed confidence. "I'm making this one for Mommy," she announces, "to show her different kinds of right." I hide my smile. Sarah wanted her daughter to learn proper behavior today. Instead, she's learning something far more valuable: how to be authentically herself. The quiet revolution continues, one messy painting at a time. As afternoon stretches into early evening, the transformation in Emily becomes more apparent. She's sitting cross-legged on the floor, something Sarah would never allow, helping Leo build a feelings fort out of blankets and chairs. "This is where we can go when big feelings need space," Emily explains, echoing my words from earlier. Like when Leo needs to move around, or when I need to not be perfect. "That's really thoughtful," I say, snapping a quick photo of their creation. "Should we have dinner in the fort?" Emily's eyes widen. "We can eat somewhere that's not the table." Special occasions call for special places. While I prepare simple sandwiches, I hear Emily and Leo chattering. Their conversation drifts through the kitchen. "Your mom lets you pick your own clothes?" Emily asks, amazed. "Yeah, she says style is how we show our insides on our outsides." "But what if you pick wrong?" "Mom says there's no wrong in art, and clothes are like wearing art." I bring their dinner to the fort on paper plates. Another small rebellion against Sarah's strict rules about proper dining. Emily takes a bite of her sandwich, then stops suddenly. "Aunt Nina, can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Why does Mommy say Leo is wrong when he's just different? Like in the video we watched about different kinds of smart?" I choose my words carefully. Sometimes adults get scared of things they don't understand. They think there's only one right way to be. Like how Mommy says I have to sit still at parties even when my legs feel jumpy. Exactly like that. Leo pipes up. "Mom says everyone's brain dances different. Some people's brains do ballet, some do hip-hop, but they're all dancing." Emily considers this while chewing. "My brain wants to hip-hop sometimes, but I'm only allowed to ballet." I text Sarah a quick update. "Emily's beautiful, full of empathy." The response is immediate. "She's always well behaved. Thank you for maintaining her routine." If only she knew. After dinner, Emily helps clean up, but not in her usual rigid way. She and Leo make a game of it, pretending to be cleaning robots with different programming. "I'm a messy fix bot," Leo declares, spinning while he picks up napkins. "I'm a doesn't have to be perfect bot." Emily giggles, and the sound is pure freedom. We settle in to watch one last short video before Sarah returns. This one about families who look and act different from what society expects. On screen, A single mom and her son talk about their unique daily routines. Hey, Emily says suddenly, they're like you and Leo, and they're happy. They are, I agree. Different can be wonderful. But, Emily frowns. Daddy says some kids are born wrong. He said it at the reunion. Leo stiffens beside me. I pull him close. What do you think? I ask Emily. After spending time with Leo today, do you think he's wrong? She shakes her head emphatically. He's just got a hip-hop brain, and he's nice and creative, and she pauses, then adds quietly, and he doesn't have to pretend. I help them gather Emily's things as the time for Sarah's return approaches. Among her belongings, I slip the letter Leo wrote, along with some of their artwork and a small all feelings welcome sign they made together. Aunt Nina? Emily asks while putting on her shoes. Can I tell you a secret? Always. Sometimes I think my brain is more like Leo's than Mommy thinks. Sometimes I want to move and create and be loud. Is that bad? No, sweetie. That's beautiful. That's you being real. But Mommy says, what does your heart say? She places a hand on her chest, something she'd seen Leo do during our feelings exercises. My heart says, I want to dance both ballet and hip-hop. The doorbell rings. Sarah's back. Emily hugs Leo tightly, then throws her arms around my waist. You're like a safe mom, she whispers. As I open the door, I see Sarah's perfect smile, her perfect suit, her perfect life. She has no idea that today, her daughter learned to question that perfection. How was she? Sarah asks, scanning Emily for signs of disorder. An absolute joy, I reply truthfully. We learned a lot about accepting different ways of being. Sarah's smile tightens slightly. How nice. Come along, Emily. Emily takes her mother's hand, but looks back at us. Mommy, did you know that everyone's brain dances different? Sarah blinks. What? Some do ballet, some do hip-hop, like me and Leo. I watch Sarah's face flicker with confusion as she leads Emily away. In the doorway, Emily turns one last time and waves. Bye, Leo. Thanks for showing me how to be real. I close the door, holding Leo close, knowing that tomorrow will bring either a storm or a revelation. Either way, the truth has been set free, wearing the innocent voice of a child. The next morning, my phone buzzes with a text from Sarah. Emily's been saying some concerning things. We need to talk. Before I can respond, Theo appears at my kitchen window, coffee in hand. So, how did Operation Open Eyes go? I let him in, and Leo runs to give him a hug. We showed Emily that different isn't wrong, Leo announces proudly. Did you now? Theo raises an eyebrow at me. And how did your sister take that? As if on cue, my phone rings. Sarah. Nina? Emily's been different since yesterday. What exactly did you do? We played. We drew. We talked about feelings. Normal kid stuff. Normal, Sarah's voice rises. She refused to practice piano this morning because her brain wanted to dance hip-hop. She's wearing mismatched socks and says it's art. What did you say to her? I didn't say anything that wasn't true. She keeps talking about Leo's letter. What letter? I take a deep breath. The one he wrote about being different. Not wrong. Maybe you should read it. This is exactly why I was worried about leaving her with you. Your unconventional parenting, you mean my accepting parenting? Silence crackles over the line. Then, Blake and I have an important dinner tonight with my potential employers. Emily needs to be on her best behavior. Please tell me you haven't completely undermined years of proper parenting in one afternoon. Sarah, has it occurred to you that maybe... She hangs up. Theo whistles low. Storms brewing? More like a hurricane. I sink into a chair. But you know what? I don't care. Emily needed to hear what we told her. Leo tugs my sleeve. Mom? Is Emily in trouble? No, sweetie. She's just showing her true colors. and some people need time to appreciate different colors. Around noon, my phone pings with a video message from Sarah. It shows Emily at their breakfast table, earnestly explaining to Blake about different kinds of brains. Like how Leo thinks in pictures and movement, and that's not wrong. It's just his brain's way of dancing. Blake's face is priceless, a mixture of horror and confusion. Another text from Sarah follows. Fix this. I type back. Nothing to fix. She's thinking for herself. Hours pass. I try to focus on work, but my mind keeps drifting to Emily. Is she holding on to her newfound voice, or has Sarah already started to squeeze it out of her? At 6 p.m., my doorbell rings. It's Sarah looking frazzled despite her perfect makeup. Emily insisted on giving this to Leo. She thrusts a folded paper at me. Since we're heading to the dinner, I open it. It's a drawing. Wild, colorful, free. Nothing like Emily's usual careful work. At the bottom, in wobbly letters, to my cousin with the hip-hop brain. Love, your cousin with the secret hip-hop heart. Sarah sees me reading it and presses her lips together. Nina, I don't know what you're trying to prove, but I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm showing children they deserve to be accepted as they are. By undermining my parenting? By showing Emily there's more than one way to be right. Sarah's phone buzzes. Blake waiting in the car. She turns to leave, then stops. She asked me this morning if I get quiet mad when she's not perfect. Where would she get that idea? Maybe ask yourself why she noticed it in the first place. I watch Sarah walk away, her heels clicking sharply on the pavement. Through the car window, I see Emily in her fancy dinner dress, carefully pulling something from her small purse, the all feelings welcome sign. Later that evening, Theo comes by again. Any fallout yet? I show him Emily's drawing. Just the beginning, I think. You know they're having dinner with her potential boss tonight? The whole family's supposed to make a good impression. I smile, remembering the look in Emily's eyes when she finally felt free to be herself. Well then, should be an interesting dinner. Leo appears with his tablet. Mom! Emily sent me a message through Mom's email. The message is simple. Thank you for showing me that perfect isn't always right. P.S. I'm wearing my light-up sneakers with my fancy dress. I laugh out loud, imagining Sarah's face when Emily insisted on that choice. Sometimes the biggest rebellions come in the smallest packages. You know Sarah's going to be furious, Theo warns. Probably, I agree, but some things are worth the storm. My phone buzzes one last time. A photo from Sarah. Emily at the restaurant, beaming proudly, her dress pristine, her feet glowing with every step. The caption reads, "We'll discuss this tomorrow." I save the photo, knowing it captures the exact moment when Sarah's perfect world began to crack. Not with a shout, but with the quiet rebellion of light-up shoes and a child's brave smile. The storm breaks at 9:47 p.m. when my doorbell rings repeatedly. Sarah stands there, still in her dinner dress, mascara slightly smeared. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" she hisses, pushing past me into the house. "Where's Emily?" I ask calmly. "With Blake, at home," where she proceeded to read Leo's letter to my potential boss's children during the dinner playdate portion of the evening. I bite back a smile. And? Sarah's voice rises. And she told everyone how her cousin isn't broken, just different. How some brains do ballet and some do hip-hop. How her mother, me, needs to learn that perfect isn't always right. Sounds like she learned some valuable lessons about acceptance. The CEO's wife asked me if I believed in child determinism. Do you know how that looked? Emily told everyone I said Leo was born wrong. Didn't your husband say exactly that at the reunion? Sarah paces my living room. That's different. That was family. No, Sarah. That was cruel. And Emily figured it out all on her own. She's 6. She doesn't figure things out. She learns what we teach her. Exactly. I meet her eyes. So what have you been teaching her? Sarah stops pacing. I teach her structure, discipline, how to succeed in the real world. You teach her to hide herself, to be afraid of imperfection, to judge others who are different. I teach her to be better. Better than who? Better than Leo? Better than herself? Sarah sinks onto my couch, deflating slightly. You don't understand. This dinner was crucial. Blake's been pushing for this connection for months. And Emily she just showed empathy, independent thinking, the ability to recognize injustice. She showed defiance, in front of everyone. I sit across from her. Tell me exactly what happened. Sarah closes her eyes. The adults were having coffee. The kids were all playing in the next room. I heard Emily's voice get louder. You know how she never raises her voice in public. And she was reading that letter. Then she started telling the other children about her day with Leo, about how everyone's brain is different and special. That sounds wonderful. The CEO's daughter asked why I thought some kids were born wrong, in front of everyone. Then Emily announced that she learned more from you in one day than she learns in a week of etiquette classes. I can't help it. I laugh. It's not funny. The CEO's wife gave me this look. She runs 3 child development centers, Nina. She started talking about modern educational psychology and asking about my views on neurodiversity. And I looked like a complete fool. Emily kept talking about feelings and acceptance and how Aunt Nina is a safe mom, and the door to Leo's room creaks open. He stands there in his pajamas, looking at his aunt. I'm not wrong, he says quietly. I'm just different. And Emily knows it now. Sarah stares at him. Really stares at him, maybe for the first time. Leo, Mom says different isn't wrong. It's just different. Like how you like quiet and I like noise. Like how Emily likes ballet and hip-hop. I watch something shift in Sarah's face. Emily's never mentioned liking hip-hop before. Because she was scared of the quiet, mad face, Leo says simply. Sarah flinches. My phone buzzes. A text from Blake. Emily won't stop talking about acceptance and different kinds of right. What did your sister do to her? I show Sarah the message. I didn't do anything to her. I just showed her it was safe to be herself. By turning her against me? By showing her that love doesn't require perfection. Sarah stands abruptly. This isn't over. No, I agree. It's just beginning. By the way, how did the CEO's wife react to Emily's speech about different kinds of brains? Sarah pauses at the door. She offered me literature about progressive education and invited Emily to visit her development centers. Sounds like Emily made quite an impression. That's not the point, isn't it? After Sarah leaves, Leo climbs into my lap. Did I do good, Mom? Helping Emily find her voice? I hold him tight. You did amazing. Sometimes the best teachers are the ones who've had to learn the hard way. My phone buzzes one more time. A text from an unknown number. This is Blake. Sarah's crying in our room. Emily's doing her feelings art and talking about brain dances. What the hell happened at your house? I type back. The truth happened, and it's wearing light-up shoes. The morning sun streams through my kitchen window as I sip coffee, still processing the events of the past few days. The doorbell rings. It's my mother, home early from her retreat. Nina, she says, walking in without preamble. I've been getting some interesting calls. I bet you have. Sarah's beside herself. Blake's confused. And Emily. A small smile plays at her lips. Emily called me to proudly announce that she's learning to dance hip-hop and ballet. Mom, She holds up a hand. Let me finish. I've spent the last 20 years watching Sarah try to force Emily into a perfect mold. Watching her criticize your parenting of Leo. And I let it happen. I set my coffee down. You did. I got a video from Emily yesterday. She was showing off her feelings art and explaining how different brains dance different dances. She looked happy, really happy. Leo appears from his room, brightening at the sight of his grandmother. "Grandma, want to see my new Feeling Bot designs?" "Actually," she says, "I would love to." We sit at the kitchen table while Leo explains his drawings. My mother listens intently, asking questions, showing genuine interest. No judgment, no comparisons to Emily's achievements. The doorbell rings again. This time it's Sarah with Emily clutching her hand. "Mom," Sarah says, surprised. "I thought you were—" "I came back early." Our mother stands. "We need to talk, all of us." Emily runs to Leo. "Can we show them our art corner while they talk?" I nod, and the kids disappear into Leo's room. Sarah sinks into a chair. "I got a call this morning, from the CEO's wife." We wait. She wants me to join the board of her child development centers. She said Emily showed remarkable emotional intelligence and that any mother who raised such an empathetic child must have hidden progressive values. I can't help but laugh. Hidden indeed. "Nina," our mother says softly, "tell your sister what you told me about the day Emily visited." I take a deep breath. We didn't do anything dramatic. We just created a safe space, where feelings were allowed, where different wasn't wrong, where Emily could exist without the pressure of perfection. "I'm not a bad mother," Sarah whispers. "No one said you were, but maybe, just maybe, there's more than one way to be a good one." From Leo's room, we hear laughter, pure, uninhibited, joyful. Emily's voice rings out. "Look what Leo taught me about mixing colors." Sarah wipes her eyes. She used to be so quiet at home, so careful. This morning, she asked if we could repaint her room because feelings need bright colors to dance in. "And?" our mother prompts. And I said yes. Sarah looks at me. "I said yes, Nina. We're painting it tomorrow." "The perfect daughter doesn't have to be perfect," I say gently. "She just has to be Emily." The kids burst back in, carrying their artwork. Emily runs to Sarah. "Mom, look what I made. It's messy, but it's real, like Aunt Nina says." Sarah takes the painting, really looks at it. "It's beautiful, sweetheart. Just like you." "Even with the colors outside the lines?" "Especially with the colors outside the lines." My mother clears her throat. "I think it's time for a new family tradition. Monthly art days. All of us. No rules, no judgment." "Can we host the first one?" Leo asks excitedly. "We can show everyone how to make feeling bots." "Actually," Sarah says quietly, "maybe we could host it. Emily's room will have plenty of space for creating once we finish repainting it." Emily hugs her mother fiercely. "Can we get light-up paint?" "Let's not get carried away," Sarah laughs, but it's a real laugh this time. As they leave later, Emily hangs back to hug me. "Thank you for being a safe mom, Aunt Nina." "Thank you for being brave, Emily." Sarah pauses at the door. "Nina?" "I'm sorry. About the reunion. About everything. I was so focused on being right, I forgot to see what was right in front of me. Two amazing kids who just needed room to be themselves?" She nods. "Two amazing kids who taught their parents more than we ever taught them." After they leave, Leo helps me clean up the art supplies. "Mom, did we win?" I think about Emily's bright eyes, Sarah's real laugh, our mother's new understanding, about how revenge doesn't always mean destroying something. Sometimes it means building something better. "No, baby," I say, hugging him close. "We didn't win. We all did." Through the window, I watch Sarah and Emily walking home, their hands swinging between them, both of them stepping deliberately on cracks in the sidewalk, laughing together in the sunshine. Karma doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers through children's laughter and colors outside the lines.